You're feeling worn out from the unrelenting waves of change and disruption happening all around you in your workplace, in the world, in your relationships, in your side hustles. The list goes on and on. So how best to overcome it? To reclaim your energy, your focus, your motivation. In this video, you're gonna learn 3 of my personal, tried and true tips to help you do just that. Let's get it. By the end of this video, you're gonna learn 3 of the practices I use to manage my change fatigue. And listen, I in no way am a mental health professional, but as a recovering alcoholic, chemical engineer, former Fortune 100 innovation leader, and founder and CEO of a multi-million-dollar global consultancy, I am here to tell you that once I internalize these practices and begin employing them on a daily basis, I have been able to reduce and even avoid altogether my change fatigue. So listen, before I dive into this first tip, I do just want to state, if you have the time, I would invite you to explore the channel because there's several other videos on here where I talk about change fatigue, what it is and why you should care about it. And these other videos really focus on helping those around you, your colleagues, your peers, your employees, overcome their change fatigue. But for now, let's dive into tips to help you overcome your change fatigue. My first practice is energetic self-awareness. This is really about staying in tune with me, my emotional energy, my physical energy. The more that I can stay in tune with that emotional state, the more that I can use that data to inform the potential or the opportunity that I have to boost that energy. So as you stay in tune with your own emotional energy, it's easier for you to see when there begins to be a downturn or a downtick in that energy, and you can then act or respond to level out and even increase that energy. I've really found that this is a great way to proactively mitigate that change fatigue before it happens, or at least before it gets to that point where you feel like you've crashed and burned, right? Where you feel like you can't even get out of bed anymore because you're so worn out, you're so burnt out. When we can stay in tune with our emotional energy, our physical state, our mental state, we can be more prepared to take action ahead of a crash and burn. And for me, in practice, what this looks like is journaling, right? So I use my journal, honestly, it's a spiritual practice for me. I journal on a daily basis, but I also use it as a means to take an emotional inventory, where I'm capturing the emotions that I feel throughout the day, as well as my overall level of energy. And when I'm beginning to see my energy decline, or perhaps those activities that are depleting my energy on a more frequent basis, then I strive to take action. How can I minimize that activity? Or what are some things that I can do to replenish my energy, either in that moment or more consistently on a daily basis? Honestly, this one has really been a game changer for me because I had found before I started doing this practice that I just remained so focused in my work, so focused in my relationships and all the things that I was doing that I was running myself ragged, and I didn't realize it until I was already at that crash and burn state. So stay in tune with you, your energy level, your emotional state, and take action when you see there might be a downturn. The second practice is taking mental respite. So in my personal experience, change fatigue will expand or become more frequent or bigger in my life the more thought energy that I give to the work, to the priorities, to the deliverables, to all the things that I have to do. And I'm almost ashamed to say, give a lot of thought energy to stuff that hadn't even happened yet, to stuff that I'm anticipating might happen, to things that might go wrong. And what do I need to do? How do I need to prepare? That's a lot of thought energy that I give, and it can be very draining. One of the best practices I've discovered to help with this or mitigate this is to redirect my focus, that thought energy, away from those elements that might be draining from the work or anticipating what might go wrong in the work. And so for me, that looks like maybe taking 15 minutes to listen to a podcast, By the way, my favorite podcasts are Founders and My First Million. So shout out to both of those guys. I also would engage in maybe calling a colleague or a friend, maybe mentoring another individual, thinking about someone else's issues or someone else's struggles and providing support and help to them. That is a great way to break your mental focus out of your own work, out of your own priorities, and out of your own kind of stressors and worries. Yo, value received? Yes? Well, make sure you subscribe. I drop videos like this all the time. When you subscribe, you'll be one of the first to get notified when a video drops. So click subscribe and be just that. Okay, let's get back into it. Practice number 3, prioritize energy-giving activities. So what do I mean by that? When I'm feeling worn down, worn out from all the unrelenting waves of change and the priorities that are happening in my work, I like to prioritize those activities that will give me energy as opposed to deplete my energy. Now, I will say I'm very fortunate to say that much of my work actually not only depletes but also gives me energy. And so that's kind of a catch-22 for me. I have to catch myself such that I don't continue pouring myself into my work. But for you, it might not look at all like something that you're doing within your work. Perhaps it's something completely different that you know will give you energy. Other examples for me, and just straight up, playing video games. Playing video games, also connecting with my wife, connecting with my family, my loved ones, going for a long walk. I also like to take long drives. These are the types of activities, the things that I can do that I know are going to fill me up, that are going to give me a lot of energy. So make sure you're prioritizing that on at least a weekly basis, if not a daily basis. Find those little areas, those pockets of time where you can engage in those activities that will give you energy, as opposed to just depleting it. Because if you aren't prioritizing those things that are going to give you energy, you're just going to keep running yourself more and more ragged. And those vacations that already come few and far between will no longer do the trick. So ask yourself, if you aren't prioritizing you, who will? Speaking of change fatigue, I got something related to change enthusiasm. So I actually want to gift you the introductory chapter to this best-selling book, Change Enthusiasm, How to Harness the Power of Emotion for Leadership and Success. And it's going to arm you with a mindset, a growth mindset that's going to help you to move through your change fatigue and maybe even avoid it. It's rooted in those really difficult emotions that we often feel when we're having that change fatigue or going through a lot of change and disruption. And I want to gift you the introductory chapter for this book right now for free. It's in the link below. I want to make sure you have the data, the research, the insights to accelerate your growth through even your greatest change challenges, especially the ones that invite change fatigue. I'm Cassandra Worthy, and until we meet again, keep growing and keep rocking.